Good morning, and welcome to another episode of A Conversation with Father Orsi. I'm BC Cloutier, Chairman of Action for Life, and this is Father Michael Orsi. Hello, Father.
Hello, my good man.
Good man, I like that.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
a good man.
Thank you.
Yeah. You think you just hang around with somebody that's not good?
I suppose not.
My father said to me, always hang out with people that are better than you are. That way you rise to their level and don't stoop to the level of somebody who's no good.
You know what? That's also true of sports. If you like, when I was alpine skiing, I always tried to ski with people that were better skiers than I was. Forced me to keep up with them, which forced me to improve my game. It doesn't work with golf, I might add.
Doesn't work well. It didn't work with math for me either. I mean, I just couldn't get it, and I was in this one of these schools, a prep school. And these guys were all pretty smart with math, but it didn't rub off on me. I did the best. I tried.
Ah, well, I felt that way about algebra. In fact, I never understood algebra until I was introduced to spreadsheets like Excel, Microsoft Excel. Then I went, oh, now I get these formulas. But I just had to kind of muddle my way through. And
I muddled through in summer school. Hey,
we are a week and a half away from the election. And this is an important election for a lot of reasons. But one of the things I wanted to focus on was the number of people who do not vote. I think the number is around 40%? Do you know?
I think it's around 40.
I think it's right around 40% of the people do not exercise their right to vote, and it's also a civic duty.
Just piggybacking onto that, we had a primary election here in Collier County back in August.
Yeah.
And I think it's only about 25% of the people voted. It was a very, very low voter turnout.
And you know what's sad about that is that you don't have to show up to vote.
I know.
You just have to ask for a ballot and they mail it to you.
Yeah.
It's really, in fact, I haven't been to the polls in several years.
And extended voting. I mean, 2 weeks before.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot on our ballot. There's the presidential election. We probably should stay away from that.
Yeah, I won't tell you who to vote for or who not to vote for. I won't tell you. It's a secret. It's locked in my heart.
I am.
But you know what's right and what's wrong.
I am, well, frankly, I'm chagrined by both candidates, but let's not go there. I am really concerned about Amendment 3 and Amendment 4. Amendment 3 is legalizing recreational marijuana. And Amendment 4, of course, is legalizing abortion up to birth. But both of those things are, I'm glad that we need 60% of the vote to pass those things.
Right.
In so many states, it's just plurality.
Right.
And so we have a little bit of advantage in Florida. I don't know what the latest polls are, but I think both of those are going to be squeakers.
I think so too.
We probably should talk about Amendment 4, Father. There's just, even if you are pro-choice, which we're not, but even if you're pro-choice, there are some really, really objectionable things that contained in that amendment.
Yes. Yes, I think the average person would be abhorred, mortified to see what Amendment 4 would do regarding abortion in the state of Florida. Now, number one, it is for permitting unlimited abortion. Unlimited. That is like being in the state of New York, and don't New York or Florida.
Our free state of Florida.
But it's up to birth. It is up to birth. And there is now a movement in New York for an ERA in New York, which would once again, sky's the limit regarding abortion. Right? Number two, when we look at that Amendment 4, it opens up the possibility for practically anyone to perform an abortion. And that means it could be a doctor, but probably not. It might be someone who is a nurse or a
Doula.
doula. A doula is like a woman that would help out with a delivery of a child, but in this case would be someone who would put an end to the life of a child through abortion. And I have to, I mean, laugh because it's so crazy. We would hear the stories about, well, we want to legalize abortion because we don't want to have a back alley abortion. We would have, usually some woman that performed an abortion in her apartment, right? But with this amendment, this would open this up to, once again, practically anybody performing the abortion.
And combine that with the fact that, the parental notification aspect of this amendment is very, very, very weak.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to have a teenage girl go to an unqualified practitioner, and there are medical problems with that, there are legal problems with that, and there are moral problems with that.
No parental notification. You don't have to tell the parents. So you could go perhaps to a school nurse, a guidance counselor, a teacher, a friend, I guess, and they can accompany that young woman to Planned Parenthood.
And then, of course, there's chemical abortion. And
70%, folks, of abortions today are chemically induced abortions,
which are supposed to occur not later than 12 weeks, but there's no policing mechanism.
No, there is no policing mechanism, yeah.
And you can buy those two drugs on the internet. It's not even very difficult.
Right.
Because you can get them from a healthcare practitioner through telehealth.
Sure.
Or you can just buy them on the black market from India and China and third world countries. And then we move on to, it's a bad amendment, okay? Even if you're pro-choice, it is a bad amendment. It shouldn't have been written the way it was written.
Right. There's also involved with it concerns for the costs that are going to be involved with this amendment, insofar as what will it do to our rates of spending here in Florida, because first of all, we have to pay for these abortions, number one, and it's going to cost money. It's also going to reduce the population here in Florida. Now, believe it or not, folks, increase in population is a good thing. We have more people paying into the system. So down the road, what will happen to Medicaid? How much Medicaid is the state going to pay for people having these abortions? But then down the road, for people who are paying into the system to support Medicaid and Medicare. Those things are not being talked about. However, it has been approved by the state Supreme Court that now, in reading Amendment 4, that these other concerns explaining Amendment 4 will be on the ballot. So please read not just Amendment 4, but the state's concerns about Amendment 4. Thank God we have a good governor, Governor DeSantis, and this is now going to be explained. All of those issues that we are discussing, they are now going to be explained in a separate portion of the voting law.
Mm-hmm. Now, Amendment 3. I don't know. We Floridians are a fairly conservative bunch.
Right.
Republicans outnumber Democrats by about 1 million people. How this amendment even got on the ballot is a question in my mind. But the Amendment 3, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is legalizing the recreational use of marijuana. Now, the medical use, you can argue that there's reasons for it. And I've heard firsthand for example, with people that are on chemo, that it helps them, fine. We legalized medical marijuana. It's tightly controlled, as it should be. What Amendment 3 proposes, Father, as you well know, is to just open the floodgates.
Right.
And let anybody who's over, I think it's 21, to buy marijuana whenever they want to. But that is going to filter down to teens, just as alcohol does.
Oh, sure. But you see, you go buy some marijuana, recreational marijuana, and then you say to me, "Hey, you want to try some?" And,
Yeah.
and I'm like, a lot younger than you, and I say, "Hey, I'll try some too." And all of a sudden, marijuana is addictive, folks. Whether you want to believe it or not, it is addictive. The studies tell us that it is addictive. The studies tell us that it causes changes in the brains, especially of young people under 25 years old, that it causes some mental and emotional issues, schizophrenia. It's the cause of depression on people that use the marijuana. It's not a simple feel-good drug. It's a very, very dangerous drug. And we're asking for a lot of trouble if we legalize recreational marijuana. We already have a lot of trouble, but don't make more trouble.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have issues with alcohol and with gambling,
Right.
And now another vice is going to be introduced into the legal system.
And why?
Money.
Money.
Taxes.
It comes down to money. And it's not, just the taxes, which, people say, well, we're going to make a lot of tax money on this.
Which is not true, but...
Right. But it's also the fact that there's a big marijuana lobbying for this because there is money to be made. And there are marijuana farms. We have, 7 or 8 marijuana farms already here in Florida. And to receive, to get a license to grow marijuana is very competitive, and it's a big moneymaker.
We have done our best to eliminate smoking because we know it's harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Took a long time, took a lot of litigation, et cetera. But slowly, the numbers are going down and down. They're even going down in Asia and in Europe, where people traditionally smoke more than Americans do. It doesn't make any sense that we're now going to allow something new that ultimately I think we're going to have to find a way to outlaw or at least severely police.
Right. Why? Maybe some of you folks out there, maybe you have a better answer than I do. Why are we so concerned about people smoking tobacco, but we're not that concerned about them smoking pot?
My point exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's counterintuitive.
Right. Say, that could give you lung cancer. Well, you're taking this marijuana.
Smoking weed will give you lung cancer too.
Yeah, and distort your brain and your mood swings. I mean, when it was legalized out in Denver, I went out there, and not to smoke it. I wanted to see what was going on, and. Just take a look at the number of DUIs out there now, the number of accidents there are out there, the number of people who are homeless, sleeping on the streets, the number of people who are involved with crime because they are smoking pot. I couldn't believe this. I went into this one place. They wanted to see my driver's license. I guess that was to make sure I was the right age. Now, I was flattered by the whole thing. All you got to do is look at me, and you know that I'm not 25. But I went into this place. It looked almost like when you go into Apple and they have all these different stations with the different kinds of Apple products, the computers and the cell phones and all the iPhones, Apple phones. And that's how they had the pot. All different kinds, all different brands, all different the flavors. They even had, pot cookies, marijuana cookies, and candy.
And consumables, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you have that in your house, you have a kid or a dog.
It's happened.
The dog's not gonna know. I mean, the dog's gonna eat it up, and the dog's gonna end up hallucinating. I have a dog who I know. His name is Chuck. He's a beagle, And Chuck is like a bad boy. If I had some of that stuff, hey, Chucky boy, I mean, try this.
We're going to take a break because this is getting dangerous. We'll be right back. But for the moment, I'd like to talk to you about the expense of airing this program. You know, many people don't realize how expensive it is to produce this program and to get it on the air. Would you care to guess? It's about $3,000 per week. We think that's a reasonable expenditure, but obviously it's an expensive one. So we need to ask for your help. If you'll go to actionforlife.org and click on the donate button, it would be greatly appreciated. Now, you can donate once or you can donate each month, and we certainly have viewers who do both. We appreciate that. Please take time now to visit actionforlife.org and click on the donate button. Thank you so much for your support, and may God bless you always. Glenn Beck is coming to Naples on October 30th. This is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get up close and personal with renowned author, broadcaster, and political commentator Glenn Beck. Enjoy elegance, education, and enlightenment as Glenn Beck and Father Michael Orsi engage in a highly anticipated dialogue on stage at the beautiful Naples Grand Beach Resort. Get tickets today with an early bird discount at actionforlife.org/events.
Hey gang, I know a lot of you sometimes can't watch all of our episodes of Action for Life. However, we have a solution for that. All you have to do is go to YouTube and search for Action for Life Florida. And you can catch up on all the shows, and guess what? Extra added bonus, you get to hear my weekly homily. So, YouTube and you make a fine couple.
Welcome back to A Conversation with Father Orsi. I'm BC Cloutier.
I want to finish my conversation about Chucky the Bad Beagle.
Before you get a lot of letters.
Yeah, I mean, don't ever give an animal marijuana. I mean, or a cookie with marijuana or candy. But Chucky is a bad boy. I mean, he's not very well disciplined. If I left that marijuana cookie out on the table or marijuana candy out on the table, I'm telling you, if you have to be very careful, Chucky would take it.
Why don't you just introduce Chucky to Christy Nome?
I don't like her. I don't like her. I mean, what she did was bad. But anyway, I mean, Chucky would, begin hallucinating if he got his mouth on that stuff. So, you gotta do this. It's dangerous for kids. It's dangerous for animals too. Okay.
So we're encouraging you today to get out and vote in the next week and a half, or you can vote right now by vote by mail, or it's not hard to vote is the point. There is Amendment 1 and 2, and Father and I looked at each other and said, what are they? Because they're being overshadowed by Amendment 3 and 4.
Right.
Amendment 1, it just proposes to make school board elections partisan.
Right.
Right now they're nonpartisan. Whatever. And Amendment 2 is about hunting and fishing. And that would be, I think, in Central Florida and up in the Panhandle, really important. For us in Southwest Florida, not really.
Yeah, so I have no opinion on Amendment 2, hunting and fishing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. I usually have an opinion on everything, but I mean, not that one.
When I think of hunting and fishing, I think of this problem we have with pythons.
You can hunt them, folks, all you want. I have an opinion on that. I don't like those things.
Oh, they're terrible.
Ugh.
They have that contest every year.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the state of Florida just doesn't put a bounty on pythons and say, every time you kill one, we'll give you X number of dollars, $50 or $100. There are people who would earn their living doing that.
But they get something, don't they?
I think only during the
python hunting season?
Yeah.
And then I think they could keep the snake and they get the snake skin, I think.
Is that right?
I don't know. I
Probably
think
so.
Yeah, I think so.
It's, when you shoot a deer, you get to keep the deer meat, and the deer skin, and all
I
that.
guess so. Anyway, I want to talk about one, the partisan school board elections. I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think people should identify, who they are.
What do you see as the end result if this amendment passes, Father?
Well, I see. You see, I'm spoiled by being here in Naples, I suppose, because everybody here is a Republican.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Almost everybody's Republican, and you have 4 or 5 people, maybe or 2 or 3 running for the same school board seat, and I think that a lot of people have to identify themselves since everybody's Republican. Some are more Republican than others. And, if you are a Democrat, wherever you might live in an area that's highly Democrat, I think it's a good thing to say, this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is the party I belong to. Because, I can't believe that we have a lot of rhinos. We have them too. So, everybody can't be Republican in Naples. I don't think so. We have some people who are Democrats, but wow, they're in the minority, at least when it comes to the primaries. And then I think when the general election comes along, you might have a person that identifies as a Democrat. But here, I think it's with, I'm pretty sure when you go to the primaries, you win if you get 50% plus 1.
Right.
50% plus 1.
So it does occur to me as we're having this conversation, it would, and we'll focus on Collier County, where about, if I remember right, 80% of registered voters are registered Republican in Collier County. It would allow Democrats to get on the ballot when they otherwise might not.
Yeah.
And there certainly are people who say, well, I'm voting for the Democrat because I'm a Democrat.
Right.
So maybe it does make some sense.
Yeah, they might refine the voters' purview when they are voting as to who's who. And then you get people then who are going to be in a general election, and the further refinement of who you're voting for and what they stand for. That's my opinion, because let's face it, everybody can't be Republican.
Right. Not, much as we'd like that, it can't happen.
Yeah, it can't happen.
So Amendment 1 and 2,
you could kill, if you want to go kill the pythons, go kill the pythons.
Right.
Now, I don't know if there's a merciful way of killing a python. I don't know what do you
I have no idea.
Chop off its head? What do you do?
I think do they shoot them? I think I saw a person on TV the other night saying, I shot him. Right. They had, the people that won an 18-foot python, I think.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they see that thing. They said these pythons, they swallow a deer. They cut one open and they saw the deer popping out of this.
They're scary. They're very scary.
Yeah, they really are. And they're not native.
They're changing the ecosystem of the Everglades.
Right. We talk about the environment. Well, we've got to take care of the environment, even the Everglades. Because those pythons are doing damage to the ecosystem. They're even swallowing alligators.
Yeah, and deer. We need to get rid of them. Really, this is a serious problem.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
But back to Amendment 3 and 4 and get out the vote. We're not going to talk about candidates because nothing good is going to come of that.
No.
What I would say is do your homework. And these days with the internet, it's pretty easy to do your homework and get an idea of where candidates stand. But Amendment 3 and 4, marijuana and abortion, respectively.
Yeah. They're absolutely not. And read what the state has now permitted regarding a discussion on what is in Amendment 4, because it is extremely confusing. And even for those of you who might not be concerned about who's going to perform the abortion, when it can be performed, I think you better be concerned about the financial impact it's going to have on the state and the litigation that's going to come from it.
Well, this is speculation, but all of the states that surround Florida have either completely restricted abortion or severely restricted abortion, right? So it stands to reason that those people who are seeking an abortion will come to Florida if this law, if this amendment changes our Constitution.
Called abortion tourism.
Some of them are not going to be able to pay.
Right.
And they're going to go on the dole, and the rest of us will pay.
That's right. And for the injuries that are caused during these unprofessionally administered abortions, there's also going to be a lot of medical bills that we're going to be responsible for.
Again, I mean, look, there's no doubt that Father and I are absolutely pro-life, from conception to natural death. But even if you are pro-choice, you have to give this amendment some serious thought, and it's just a bad idea. If it were written differently, you might be able to argue that, well, you know, there's whatever, right? You can't argue that this is a good law. It's not.
Not a good law. As a matter of fact, it's against God's law. It's a sin. I think voting for Amendment 4, saying yes, is sinful.
I think well, you would know better than I. but really, voting for Amendment 4 is committing a sin, right?
If you're a Christian, and you're promoting abortion, even if you're a good human being wouldn't do this. To have a child, being able to get an abortion without even parental notification or consent, you know, they might say, we're going to notify the parent, but when? After it performed.
Well, and that brings us back to getting out to vote. It's so crucial. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, and I know a lot of you are sitting at home saying, I do vote, move on, say something else. There's so many of us that don't vote. We have to encourage our fellow citizens to get out there and cast their vote. It's a civic duty, and it's an important civic duty.
It really is. It really is, because so much depends on the people that we put into office, and that goes from the smallest or the most, what we might consider insignificant, not insignificant, school board, very, very important, all the way up to the presidency of the United States. We have to live with the choices that we make, and we want to make the right choices.
Absolutely. As Barack Obama said, elections have consequences. That's our show for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you again next week. Until then, I'm BC Cloutier. Have a great week, and God bless.